So let's add some users. We create this new file called signup users.tsx. We can import React. We can then add props. In this case, the prop is going to be empty because we're not passing anything into it. And so although I initially typed React pure component, we'll actually have state here. So I have to change that. So we want to be able to initialize our state. So our initial state will have a name with an empty string and an email with an empty string. And then we'll make a type state and set it equal to the type of initial state. So then in the React component, we can specify the initial state like this. And so the first thing we want to do is add the signup mutation. And so we're taking this right from the Apollo components. And then we also want to add row, column, input, and form from ant design. So in this case, since it's a mutation, the first parameter is create user. And so this is the actual mutation, which we can call anywhere in our React component and in kind of a child component, and we'll have access to it. So we're creating a column, we're creating a form that's going to have a row and a few different columns, and each column is going to be a different input field. So we need 3 of them here. So the first is going to be an input. And so this is going to be the input for the name. So first we need a placeholder, then what it's called. And then the initial value is going to be based on our state variable name. So initially it's going to be just an empty string. But then we're going to be making a change handler so that as people type into this, we'll be updating the state, which will then get reflected in the value here. So this kind of pattern is called a controlled component. So we can make this change handler here. So it's going to take in the event. And so this is a react dot change event. And then it's an HTML input element. We're going to pull off the name and the value. So the value is like what the person actually typed in, and the name is what the name of that field is. And so we're building this change handler so that it can actually take in it can handle any kind of input you want. So it'll handle both name and email. And so what I should be doing at this point is updating the second one, all of the placeholders and everything from name there to email. And I forget to do it, but I'll come back to it. So next I'm making a button. So now I can import the sign up form. On our index page. And I'm getting an error here because even though I'm using this create user, so that's what the mutation is. I'm not actually calling it anywhere here. So I'm just going to stub it out for now. And so what we'll see is when you type stuff into the first name, you can see that it's getting matched, it's getting mirrored between the two. And the reason for that is because I forgot to update the name to email here. So I just have to change that and save it. So now we can see that the fields are independent. But then when you click it, nothing happens. So now I need to fill out the form on submit handler. So on submit. So first you do a prevent default to prevent the kind of default behavior of the form. And then I can call the create user mutation. So in the mutation, I can pass in a variable. And so here I'm just going to pass in all of the state variables into it. So we'll both have name and email. And so then the second thing I want is a refetch query. So after that finishes, we then have a .then, and then I'll have a set state where I'll just clear out the fields. So we should see that if I type in my name here and my email, that when I press the sign up user button, I'll then show up on the users list.